What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Today we have Bitcoin selling off, falling below $67,000. We also have the SPY falling just a bit to 533, and the Qs holding right at those all-time highs at 464. So, is this the top for markets? Should we be scared? Or should we be looking to buy the next dip? That's what I want to answer in today's video. Plus, I've got some sectors and stocks to keep an eye on for potential good entries as well as crypto. So if that sounds good to you, you know what to do. Be sure to hit the like button. If you want to see more, be sure to subscribe, and let's get started. All right, guys, happy Tuesday to you all. So yeah, seeing a little bit of weakness in the markets here ahead of the CPI data that comes out tomorrow morning at 8:30, as well as we have the FOMC meeting minutes tomorrow afternoon at 2 as well. So it looks like the markets are showing a little bit of jitters here as we go into that. So we'll need to keep an eye on that to see what is happening. Because if inflation stays higher, well, the Fed may not be able to cut rates as soon as expected, which is putting pressure on the risk on assets, such as the crypto markets and the IWM. But we have to remember where we are at, historically speaking, during a presidential election year. Here is the data that you see, and typically we do see a little bit of pullbacks here during the summer months, followed by a strong rest of the year and more strength into the following year later in that year. So that's the typical cycle. Um, and then we could see a bigger pullbacks, but really a lot of these assets are looking a bit overheated at the moment. That caused the dollar to spike, and we'll look at that in just a moment. But also, we've got the US 2-year that spiked on Friday, coming down just a little bit. We are putting in a series of lower highs on the yield, so that is good for the markets, although it remains relatively elevated at around 4.9% on the 2-year, just below. And as the yields come down, well, we know the treasury markets should do well. We've been in a long downtrend over the last couple of years and finally found a bottom end of last year, it looks like. And we had this uh, wedge pattern here that we just broke out of recently. We're coming back down, falling just below that downward sloping trend line. But it may give you all a one last chance to get in on TLT if you are interested, because I think this is going to go much higher. We know that the Fed will have to cut rates at some point. There is a possibility that they may have to even raise rates just a bit if we see inflation staying sticky and we enter a dreaded stagflation zone. But if they keep these rates this high, it most likely will break something in the markets. So uh, definitely think that the rates will be cut probably starting later this year, and that would be good for the treasuries. As I mentioned, we had the dollar moving up, sitting at 105.36. It failed to break below this line here we had as our inverse or our head and shoulders pattern. So the dollar is remaining strong at the moment. However, we could be setting in a series of higher lows and lower lows. So that's something to keep an eye on. I do think with what is going on within the world and these global currency wars that we are seeing, that you will eventually see the dollar start to weaken a bit more. Um, I don't think that like de-dollarization or anything is anything that we really have to worry about over the next several years, the next decade or so. But long term, we know the dollar is losing strength, and a lot of these other countries are looking at alternative assets such as gold and possibly even Bitcoin. But we'll get back into Bitcoin in a moment. This is the gold chart. We had a big sell off on Friday as well, sitting right around that $2,300 level, continuing to range sideways. The RSIs are oversold on the daily, but we are still in just a bit of a downtrend on the weekly, and we are looking to bottom out sometime here soon on this weekly chart. So will gold lose this level? Well, it is possible. If we did, I think the next target, like I've said many times before, would be this $2,150 to $2,200 range for gold. Long term, though, still bullish on gold over the next couple of years. I do think you will see much higher prices for gold. So if you are still looking to invest, well, this may be a potentially a good opportunity for you. What about the IWM, the small cap stocks, or Russell 2000? It is setting just below 200 this morning, fell a little bit below that, wick below that, and being bought back up here a bit. If we can close and maintain above this level, well, I think we could see a bounce here. We've got a little bit of wicks from the bottom side, which shows a little bit of buying pressure. And this is the range that we broke out of earlier this year. And we've seen a couple big bounces since then, or relatively big bounces. So some of these small cap stocks could begin to outperform the markets. But right now, it's showing a little bit of weakness, and this is kind of typical during the summer. You have a lot of people going on vacation and traveling, and just not a lot of action in the stock markets during the summer, and a lot of these small cap stocks do suffer a bit, but I do suspect that later this year you will see these a lot higher. So that's something to keep an eye on. And we had the NVIDIA split. So it was a 10-to-1 stock split, taking NVIDIA from right around $1,200 down to $120. Generally, this is good for the stock price because it allows more people to have the ability to afford a stock. A lot of people can't buy a $1,200 stock, but they can buy a $120 stock. So long term, this is kind of bullish for NVIDIA. However, a lot of times in the short term, you will see that stock pull back. And right now, NVIDIA is mainly leading this charge higher in the stock markets. So if we do see a little bit of sell-off in NVIDIA, well, we could see more downside action in the markets. I heard that NVIDIA may eventually make up 15% of the S&P. That is just insane. So, Where is the stock market going? Well, I do think that we overall we're still in an uptrend, and we will probably be much higher by the end of the year. But we have a lot of these big companies now coming out and announcing big stock buybacks, which helps to elevate the prices of these stocks. And GM approves a $6 billion stock buyback that just came out. So that's more liquidity in the system. So yeah, I think you will continue to see some of these stock prices move higher. We just may need to cool off here just a little bit. Another stock that I have been keeping an eye on, have been getting in on, is Alibaba, the Chinese stock market, and some of these emerging markets have seen what appears to be a base over the last couple of years and some signs of recovery. It looks like we could get another bounce here on Baba, really entering that zone right there where you could see a nice little bounce. So that is something that I'm keeping an eye on. Really, it looks like I probably need to update this line here, maybe just a bit, somewhere right in that zone. Kind of lines up more so with some of these peaks and what has been acting as support. So you can see we are right down on that line there. And if we can break out of this downsloping trend again, well, you should see much higher prices on Baba. I did read, I believe it was last week, that some of the analysts are calling for Baba to go to $105, I do believe. So that would put us way up here in this range that we had laid out right around $100. So there is a real good potential for some good returns on a lot of these Chinese stocks, particularly the tech stocks. Um, they've been beaten down a lot, and I do believe over the next uh, several years, you are going to see these stocks run a lot. Kind of what's happened in China uh, with their real estate is somewhat similar to what happened to the U.S. back during the '08 and '09 crisis. And of course, we know after that recovery, we've seen some big gains in the U.S. stock market, particularly in the tech companies. And so I think you could see something somewhat similar. Um, they still do have quite a few problems over there, but nevertheless, I think that some of these stocks are very good long-term investment opportunities. If you are interested in buying stocks, gold, cryptos, or ETFs, you can do so over on Robinhood, and they will give you a 1% bonus and no cap when you transfer an outside brokerage account to Robinhood. They also offer 8 times the national savings rate and allow you to begin building your portfolio with just as little as $1 and commission-free trading. If you are interested, there is a link down below, and they allow you to buy cryptos such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, and many more. All right, guys, let's move into the crypto world. What is going on with Bitcoin? Well, I just wanted to share this post over here by Bitcoin Magazine. It says, Rich Dad, Poor Dad author Robert Kiyosaki says Bitcoin is the easiest way to become a millionaire. Yeah, I just wanted to share this post because his book, Rich Dad, 𝗗𝗶𝗀𝗀𝗶𝗺𝗃 is the book that really made me start thinking a lot different about money. Originally, it was just a personal finance thing that when I began studying money, I just wanted to make sure I was making wise decisions on how I was spending and saving my money. And then when I read this book and understood the idea of investing in assets that paid you, that is when I really started to get serious about uh, transferring out of my career so I could pursue other things and build Airbnbs and create other streams of income. So that's really what kind of turned the tide for me initially. Of course, I read several other books and things since then, but this one was definitely got me thinking in a little bit different way. There was a couple really other important books that really had me thinking in new ways. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that um, because I do agree with them. I think Bitcoin is the opportunity uh, that a lot of people are looking for, especially if you don't have a whole lot of money, such as a lot of people right now are struggling because whenever I was looking to get into real estate and got into flipping houses and looked to buy my properties, real estate wasn't that expensive. I mean, it was uh, here where I live, it's very cheap, really, compared to a lot of the U.S. But yeah, it overall it was just um, it's so much more expensive now. I think real estate is very overvalued, and I do think that real estate will come back down some. It is already starting to fall in many areas across the nation, and I do think you will eventually see some of these real estate prices eventually come down. But nevertheless, as of right now, I mean, if you don't have, say, 100, 200, $300,000 just to make some sort of down payment, well, Bitcoin allows you to invest in something that will most likely rise over the long term, and that's why I do like Bitcoin. Um, as I said, if we did see a sell-off today from around 70,000 to 70 or 67, 66.5, just slightly below that, but finding a bit of support here. And I did mention this was a possibility. I thought we could come down around this mid-range and retest this zone before moving higher. Um, I still think that Bitcoin is going much higher over the long term, and we could see it break out possibly here in the next couple of weeks, but we will need to watch the price action. Is this market manipulation? Are these big financial institutions now just selling Bitcoin, putting pressure on the markets so they can buy at lower prices? Well, there's always things in the background that we never probably truly understand or don't find out until later. But yeah, there's a chance, and really these big institutions that have these ETFs, um, they really haven't even begun to tap in to the potential that is out there initially when they launch these things. Well, you'll have a bit of liquidity come in, and then they do testing and they uh, kind of figure out exactly how they are going to market this to people. So you do have some of that, and they have a testing time period. And the amount of liquidity that came into this ETF in the first few months was absolutely staggering. And I think over the long term, you are just going to see so many people pouring into this, small businesses, family offices, pension funds, people with IRAs like myself. I just think that Bitcoin is going so much higher over the long term. If we lose this level, well, we could come back down and retest this $60,000 level. And we do have a couple potential areas where it could go lower, but I would be looking at these areas if you're still trying to get in on a long-term investment or you want to get in on a spot buy, uh, just to ride out the rest of this crypto cycle over the next couple of years. I do believe that the 4-year halving cycles do have some real effects. Um, but could this be the local top here for a little while? It's a possibility. I mean, we may just continue to go sideways through the summer, possibly, before going higher later this year. A couple other things to look at. We have the total 3 market cap. So this is all the altcoins minus Bitcoin and Ethereum. And you can see we are retesting our trend line here once again, um, which has acted as support. Uh, so really we've had, since the bottom, one, kind of two touches, and really this is just our third touch. And, as long as I've been watching the markets and trading, I used to do I do a lot more swing trading now, but I used to do a little bit, and that was always my indications. That third touch is typically where you tend to know we are in an uptrend, we are moving higher, and it is a good potential investment spot buy opportunity over the long term. Most likely, these assets will go much higher. Um, Now, there is a bit of caveat to that. A lot of these altcoins I would not hold after this crypto cycle. I would revert back to something like Bitcoin or some other markets possibly, but yeah, I I think some of these major altcoins will continue to go much higher, and one of those is Ethereum. Well, as I mentioned, we just had Ethereum break out of this downward sloping trend. We are retesting that right now, so it looks like Ethereum may start to outperform Bitcoin. And we had this post over here by Pepso. So shout out to them. They said the approval of the ETF is a positive sign, signaling the crypto industry's global growth ahead. A BTC ETF was approved. The ETH ETF has a 99% chance of being approved this summer, and I've heard that could be in just a couple of days or possibly a couple of weeks now. Also, there is now rumors that Solana may have an ETF uh, announcement. So that's really interesting. A lot of people think Solana will be the third one to potentially have an ETF. We will have to wait and see. I don't know that we're going to see that this year. Maybe it's possible with the presidential election heating up. We know that the party in control has kind of done a 180 on their stance on crypto. And of course, Trump is supporting crypto as well. So what does that mean for these markets? Well, it definitely means that there's probably a lot more uh, liquidity coming into these markets and driving these asset prices much higher. Ethereum sitting at 34.57, just below our midline. I mentioned if Ethereum fell down here into around this mid-range, down to 3,400 or possibly even 32, I thought that would be a great entry. Um, I actually just added to my position a little bit this morning on Ethereum. Overall, long term, still very bullish. And you can see here the RSI is oversold on the daily. So it looks like we're about to see a bounce on Ethereum. And we also have Solana falling to 148. Um, just falling below our trend line. If we zoom out here a little bit in this ascending wedge pattern, you see we have um, Solana just wicking below that level. We've seen that a little bit here, but yeah, I think Solana is going to be another one of those altcoins that will outperform and really last for the long run. Um, so I would consider buying Solana here. Um, I would be buying more personally right now if I had more in my crypto account, but I pretty much have my crypto account maxed out with all my spot positions that I've been buying over the past 6 months or so. Um, but yeah, I like this price on Solana. I think you will see much higher prices on Solana very soon. Like I said, it may take a couple weeks or so before we start to see a little bit more strength here. I think we'll know more tomorrow after the CPI numbers come out. If you're interested in buying crypto such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Avalanche, and many more, you can do so over at iTrust Capital. iTrust Capital allows you to buy, sell, and trade crypto, gold, and silver in a tax advantage IRA with low cost and no monthly fee. I use iTrust Capital to gain exposure to crypto. And what I really liked about iTrust is they allow you to transfer a portion or all of your 401k or IRA into iTrust. That is why I use iTrust. Plus, they have over 4,500 plus 5-star reviews on Google, and they have uh, people that you can actually call and talk to on the phone. So if you are interested, there is a link down below. I do appreciate it. Um, yeah, guys, that is pretty much going to wrap it up for me. Uh, Drop a comment below if you want me to take a look at anything. Also, don't forget to follow me at Mind of Financier on X or Twitter. I am Mind of the Financier on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, and I put out any updates I see about the market over on Twitter whenever I see them pertaining to stocks, commodities, and crypto. So you can be sure to go follow me over there. And yeah, guys, I hope you all have a great rest of your day um, and uh, a good week as well. So yeah, everybody, take care. Until next time, guys, be legendary and peace out.